Yeah. Hey, this is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe, and this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, and all things weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
Not much.
We as some of you may notice, we have a little something extra in the background. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got Mr. Gnome here, and this is our sponsor table,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be spinning the whole time.
Some of our stuff fell already.
I noticed that. I don't think you can see it, but we have.
It's our first time. We're not perfect, okay? So, we're just gonna look past that and move on. But yeah, check it out, man. What is the salsa a sponsor?
Not really.
No, but they're really good. You should try it. And Sierra Salsa, they're awesome. They don't sponsor us, but hey, it's tasty.
Awesome company, and
Yeah.
also Gnomes. We're sponsored by Gnomes.
We're sponsored by Gnomes.
Just in general.
If you've never seen the show as a child, the Gnomes, great show.
Yeah.
And Redeemer.
And Redeemer
Don't forget
Small Batch.
Redeemer, small batch CBD company, delicious. If you order anything from there, use the code UFO15 and get 15% off of your purchase.
Hell yeah,
Dude, that worked out pretty good.
That was perfect.
I think I like it because sometimes I forget some of the sponsors, and now I can just look at the screen and it rotates.
Yeah.
And it kind of lots my time on how long I should talk about
It's perfect.
I like it, dude.
I mean, we are pioneers when it comes to advertising, for sure.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody
Somebody's gotta do it. Well, anyways, man, today's going to be pretty awesome. I know a lot of you have heard our previous episode, but today we've got Ryan Bledsoe with us on the show. Ryan, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. I'm really digging the spinning table. Kind of cool, man.
Yeah. We're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Trying to be pioneers.
Right. Also, we got to be scientific about it. Almost doctor-y scientific. Noticing your shirt. Freaking amazing, man.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
It's my degree.
I mean, you make that shirt look good, man. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, man, I think it makes me look good.
Red is your color, for sure.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
I like it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm super stoked that you're here, man. Get to kind of do a little storytelling, hang out, and we got a lot of questions. I mean, pretty basic stuff, man. As you know, I mean, you've heard the episode that we've done on your father. It was absolutely pretty much spot on, perfect story, and we want you to kind of fill in the empty holes that we might have missed a few things, and man. So I'm just super excited you're here, dude. This is so awesome.
I'm really happy to be here with you guys. There's so much, even that you don't see. There's so much positive buzz about you guys, and good vibe.
Awesome, man.
Hell yeah.
That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear.
Good to hear. Through the grapevine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through the grapevine. Yep, through the grapevine.
Love that.
We
dude.
always assume the opposite, but here lately we've been hearing that a little bit more and more. So I'm glad people are liking it, man. I'm glad people are digging it. That's I guess that's what we're shooting for.
Well, yeah,
we wanted people to like it eventually.
Yeah.
So.
Which
Absolutely, man.
makes me think of that episode that we did about your dad, Chris. I mean, man, we didn't really know what we were doing, and if anybody goes to listen to that episode, we have a perspective. We have you, Ryan Bledsoe, you lived through this stuff. And maybe you'll be able to fill in some gaps and things. And I'm sure by now everybody's kind of heard about Chris's story, your dad's story, but I kind of want to learn from your perspective. I know you've been on SOR, and man, I just feel like I got to know you a little better. But yeah, maybe for those that haven't seen that show, what was it like in that perspective growing up with this phenomenon happening in your household, and kind of, was it an immediate switch or what? Yeah. What was it like?
Well, I'm just going to operate on the idea that the listener may not have heard that, SOR, and we're just going to start from the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So, as I've said, it's very cool now as an adult, like, because most of my beliefs about reality and life and, spirituality and things like that come from what happened to me and still happens. And at the time, it was very traumatic, but it was very cool. It was like there's two ways about it. Like, on the one hand, excuse me, on the one hand, what little kid would not want to see lights in the sky? Like, it's super cool. But then on the other hand, how it, rips your family apart and all the ridicule. It's very traumatic at the same time. So as a kid, it depended on the day. We would see the lights, and then there'd be a lot of arguing and a lot of fear, and then it was just like really cool when we saw them. It was very chaotic. It was not really easy to predict. Like it was like a blessing and a curse at the same time. And I just remember seeing as a little kid, my mom calling a preacher to pray for my dad because it was demonic. That really affected me as a little kid, seeing that. And then, also knowing my dad was healed of his Crohn's disease from this phenomenon. So it's like, just imagine being a little kid and, going to church and then living this crazy experience and everything just being chaos. So it's like overwhelming on the brain. But, I've made peace with it as an adult.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I can definitely see, how that is definitely chaotic. I mean, yeah, on one hand, you have a priest coming to pray for your dad for this demonic thing, but then at the same time, he also is like, got healed by this thing. And it's like, okay, so, I mean, do we really need to pray this away? Is it helping? Is this like some kind of trick? Or like, dude, I couldn't even imagine. I grew up in a really religious family as well. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and and it's after like hearing y'all's story, I always thought to myself, there was this one lady that went to our church, and she also ran this little shop downtown where she had all these really interesting pictures and stuff. And she would always say that she would go outside and she would do her morning prayer. And in certain mornings, she would start seeing these little sparkles. And then like this light would show up. And then she just felt so good. And, and like we all just kind of, took it with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, we believe, we think that's beautiful. God exists. None of us experienced anything like that before. So, it was still just kind of like, we don't know. But, like hearing more and more stories about stuff like that really kind of, puts things into perspective,
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome, man. I can't tell you how many hundreds or maybe even thousands of people over the last 14 years that have messaged my dad saying that they have these like traumatic experiences in their life. And then, shortly after they see these lights, it's like almost seems to be related to trauma and states of consciousness, which, to me, that's just like, I got to say it. To me, that doesn't sound like aliens, which is what we're being just pushed since we're little, Hollywood. But I definitely think it's a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the lady. I mean, that you're talking about.
Yeah,
different lady.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, she had all kinds of interesting pictures. I mean, when you hear that funny story of like the Virgin Mary on a tortilla or something, like she was that lady. Like she had like pictures of like stuff that would just randomly happen around her house. She's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a sign. I pray and it shows up, whatever it is.
Have you seen It's Always Sunny?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on the wall with the Jesus or something. Yeah. That reminds me of that.
Wait, what was it? What was on the wall?
It was like there was a leak at the bar and it made an image of Jesus and they just made a ton of money on it or something like that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, man.
It turned out it was probably like Charlie like peeing on the wall or something like that.
I mean, so
I don't remember.
What do you think about that, man? You know, like you're saying, aliens are pushed on us through Hollywood and stuff like that. You think maybe like, this stuff has been happening since humans existed, probably,
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it just represents itself as whatever fits the time? Maybe it's not so much that maybe it's like pushed on us. It's just like it's that era. Like now it's aliens. It used to be angels. Before that, it was like all the gods. Before that, it was magic, whatever. Like you think it. It just kind of shifts with our perspective and our time, but it's the same thing throughout history.
I mean, I think it's a mix of both. I think it could be that, as well as it is being pushed on us to. I mean, it's just a whole thing about the consciousness angle, and why would the institutions want us to be aware of our true ability? Since the time we're little, we learn about physical evolution, the Big Bang Theory, everything from such a material perspective that I don't think that these institutions want us to know that there is even a spiritual angle. Definitely. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Like this UFO phenomenon, it doesn't matter if it comes from another planet. It doesn't matter if it comes from another dimension. None of that to me matters. What really matters is there is a spiritual world. There's a spiritual reality. It's true. But you just can't seem to find that in the institutions. And I think that's what the UFO thing is. It's one part of that agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, man. Rockefeller school system.
Yep.
Familiar with them?
Mm-hmm. Yep. He doesn't want educated people. He wants workers.
Obedient people.
Yep. Vatican religion system.
Mm-hmm.
You go to church, you're not getting it there, right?
Right.
I don't even want to go into the money system, but there's a family with that one too.
Absolutely.
Everything just seems to be telling us this one story. Every institution. And that story is, don't think about reality. There is no spiritual higher place, and just shut up and go to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes sense if it's like if the alien agenda is pushed on us, and you think about it, you're like, what is all this crazy stuff? It's like, oh, it's aliens. End of story, right? You kind of answered the question, like, oh, this stuff is just aliens. You're not thinking more. You're not asking more questions. Yeah. You're not, you're kind of like, oh, well, okay, we figured it out. It's aliens. I don't know what that is, but it's aliens, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say, I'm not sure if you guys are really like familiar with the lady story with my dad and everything.
So I'm familiar with it.
I would love to know more. I mean, I can't get enough of this story. For those that haven't heard about it.
I know the basics, man. I know she shows up. I know the bull. The the little weird Chihuahua taco thing with the spikes.
The spines,
I'm aware of that part, but I'm sure there's a lot more to it.
Dude, I want to break that down.
That's funny, man.
There's so much to that. Like, this is like, take this. This is yours. Take care of it. Like, there's so much symbolism, symbolism in that. Symbology.
It is symbolic.
Yeah.
And, the things that the lady told my dad were, they're going to lie. They're going to say it's all aliens. And I'm not going to say who they are. I kind of already said it, but, they're going to tell the story. And they've been telling the story for generations. You go to school, you learn only about physical. The monetary system, that's a disaster. The religious thing, also a disaster. The story is it's all physical. Nothing that is not material, meaning, spiritual, etheric, whatever, is real. That's the angle. Mm-hmm. And the UFO story, according to the lady, which for the listener who's not aware, my father's Christopher Bledsoe Sr., and he saw this white lady apparition. I say white because she had a white dress. She had blonde hair, blue eyes. And she told him exactly that. Like that's what the false disclosure is going to be. It's only aliens. There's no spiritual anything. There's no God. There's no nothing. So that's kind of led me on like a warpath to figure out as much as I can about, history, mythologies, and what's going on. And, it's definitely more mystical to me,
Yeah. Dude, along with that, like mystical thing. So we've got this idea of everything's physical, learn this, learn that, and you'll be able to play this game that you didn't even sign up for in the first place. But there's like these people at the top that really love it, that you're playing this game, and they don't really want you to find out all these rules. Like, there's some back doors and there's some cheat codes that
Yeah.
Like they don't want you to know that, or if you did, then that gets rid of the commodity. It gets rid of being special. Like if everybody was special, nobody would be special. That kind of idea. Like,
Right.
if everybody had, if everybody was rich, then no one would actually
What's
be
the point of being rich?
rich. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There'd be no power differential.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like more and more, I'm like paying more attention to this spirituality aspect, and I think where I'm headed is back to what you were saying, Ryan, about being more influenced by spirituality, and that the individual is a lot more powerful, and they don't.
Yes.
Whoever the people in power don't want you to realize that, because I think this is where I'm getting at. I think the collective consciousness creates or projects our reality. So if you get enough people to believe one thing, then we make it happen,
Dude, I just said that exact thing on the phone with Gary Voorhees tonight.
What? What's up, Gary?
Yeah.
Dude, I was talking to Gary today too.
Yeah. I just said that exact thing. It's like I said it on a show the other day. I think this reality itself is, everybody says simulation theory, we're in the matrix, blah, blah, blah. There's a parcel of truth to that, in my opinion. I think that this is a consciousness simulated reality. Everything is consciousness. What does that kind of sound like? Sounds like God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's consciousness stimulated, you could say, and it all comes from our collective beliefs about what it is. So just think about that. That's why whoever these people in power are, would want to lie to us. To change. They don't want us to have this like positive belief about our nature and understand that we have the ability to attract things in our life with positivity and, being kind to other people. They just want us to be all in fear and divided. And by the way, there's these evil alien monsters, and they probed this guy, they might probe you too. It's just, I don't know, man. I think it's a positive, benevolent thing. And these lights in the sky that are not the military craft are they're here to help. I mean, they healed my father of Crohn's disease and many other people in private,
Right.
in and around our property. And think about this, Ben, to what you were saying. I personally know Dr. John V. Alexander, who, for the listener who doesn't know that man by name, just look up The Men Who Stare at Goats, watch the film until you see George Clooney. Okay. That's John V. Alexander.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the George Clooney character is a mix, like the real life people that one character is an amalgam of, meaning two people mixed into one, is Joe McMoneagle and John B. Alexander, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
technically it's John and Joe. And I know for a fact, I've spoken with John and others in the CIA, that there is a real, provable, measurable, repeatable existence of ESP, psychic phenomenon. But, my issue is, why aren't we being shared this? If this is true, why aren't we allowed to have access to this?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to why, like, a lot of people who have this contact, man, I mean, they really open up. They're like, oh my gosh, like their whole perspective on life and just everything completely is just different. And it makes sense why these people in power would then immediately want to get in contact with them or spook them away from it or whatever it is that they want to do. It's like, it really is, man. It's like a power grab.
Yeah, like why would they want you to not talk? Like if you had an experience, why would they want you to not talk about it? Well, because if you share that message to other people, they'll start believing it, and there goes that little string of belief that you can never squash. So you gotta squash it as soon as possible, dude.
Having to coach you, like on things to say or what they want you to think it is. I mean, have y'all had any personal experience with that where you felt like maybe you were being coached on something to say, but then you were having a completely different outcome of what was actually going on?
Yeah, pretty much. There have been times especially, most people know now that we signed an option agreement with Hollywood. We didn't sign our life rights away. We haven't received a single dime on that. It's been 9 years. It hasn't happened yet. So I'm free to talk about it. But there was a few years there where they didn't want us to speak at all because it was don't speak. You're going to spoil the story when it comes out, this, that, and the other. And my dad basically just said, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going to start speaking. I don't necessarily know that they meant any ill will, but we just got sick of being told we had to be quiet.
Yeah.
But, and there are some times where I don't want to kill the vibe or anything. You guys just have such a great vibe.
We'll bring it back up, dude. We'll bring it back. We'll find something. We'll mess something up.
I'm gonna need you to bring it back up. But we've had some death threats. This guy showed up to our property, and I know. So let me just break it down. There's a thing called plausible deniability, right? You guys are familiar with that? Okay, well then, just for the listener who doesn't know what that is, it means you have a very limited knowledge about certain activities that are going on, so you can legally deny it, but you have a simple awareness of what's happening.
Yeah, right, it's like Morgan Freeman's. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You can probably explain it.
Morgan Freeman's character in The Batman with Christian Bale, where he's like, "Don't tell me, I don't want to know. That way, I'll never be. Never blame me.
I'm not held accountable. I was just some guy."
Yeah,
that's exactly right. But let's take it a step further. Now, there are people in the CIA who, intentionally take civilians and have them harass people, but through plausible deniability. I didn't harass that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a guy in the CIA. It's nobody that I've ever said publicly. If I've said somebody's name publicly, like John or Jim or whatever, they were very kind to us. I'm not referring to any of our friends.
Yeah.
But there is a guy. And, he sent a few people that were civilians, but they were sent by this man to our property. One of them made death threats. One of them just hung around the property for 6 days and just bothered my dad. Actually, both of them did. They stayed for several days, and it was just like a leech. They got there, and then they just wouldn't leave until my dad had to just you need to leave, force them out. And they were just harassing. And I've noticed that when I say certain things on Twitter, there's a couple of these goons who, again, I know who they are. They're attached to this guy in the CIA, and they make threats, sometimes veiled threats on life. Which is cyber stalking.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's cyber stalking. It's a crime to do this.
Are they the same? I mean, I'm getting granular here, but do they hire someone else that doesn't even know anything about this, or is it the same people that kind of show up?
It's the same group, and I could say the group, but at this time, I don't think I'm ready to do that.
Yeah,
dude.
But
that's
they're
crazy.
out there.
Yeah.
So let me just say this clearly: there are people currently employed by the United States government who are harassing experiencers. That's just a fact. I'm one of them. I'm a living person going through this right now. And I've probably had 2 or 3 insinuated death threats on me just because of some of the wild stuff I've said on Twitter. But you know what, man? I just ignore it and I just keep on rolling, baby.
Just keep on rolling, man. Dude, I couldn't imagine that. The worst thing that happens to me on social media is I'll get a friend request from this super, super hot chick. And I'm like, I know you're not interested in me. How dare you? You don't even have any friends. Or occasionally it'll have 2 friends that are 2 or 3 friends that are in the UFO community. And I'm like, who the hell are you? And why is it these 2 random people that I know? And then you just going down this list trying to mess with people who are kind of in the community. I've had that happen to me, and it's it's kind of creepy. It's I'm not going to accept your friend request, but man, I wish you were real.
That'd be super cool.
But no, I mean, dude, I couldn't imagine
I just texted them to Ben. I just texted them a couple of them to Ben.
Nice. Shit. Oh, damn.
Don't say the names.
Okay.
Don't say the.
I'm not. I won't.
That's insane, dude. I can't believe that.
Which, by the way, Joe, you're free to get my number from Ben or whatever. He just reached out to me.
Sweet, man. But, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Oh, did you want to?
That's pretty intense,
dude. What you're saying is. There's a gravity to that. That means
there's a cover up on the truth.
Yeah, and there's physical evidence. We have that. Just seems so gross to me. There's someone in the government that's getting paid by our tax dollars to harass people for not expressing their experience.
That's why taxation is theft.
Yep.
I would not choose to spend my tax money in that direction, sir. I would like to.
You would be shocked if I told you who these people were associated with. You would quite frankly be shocked. But
yeah. I mean, when we get Joe, we love to make this
let me
political.
just say this. The entire UFO world would be shocked. But
Wow.
yeah.
Dude.
Oh, man. As long as it's not David Childress, fool.
Dude, I love David Childress.
Giant blocks.
He's a good guy, I think.
It's one of my favorites.
But yeah, like so that's, man, I mean, how do you follow that up? Like, well, if you knew who this was or who behind it, I mean, is it big names or is it like an overall?
Well, I mean, what sucks about it the most is that you can't even like tell anybody about it. Like who? Like it's like if they're already up here, what are you gonna do? Call your local police department that's like down here? Like, what are they gonna do about it? There's nothing anybody can do about it. That's got to be so frustrating.
And then they would be like, "There's no way I'm touching that with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to get in trouble."
It's like Facebook blocks ours because we share things from the Ghostbuster theme page, but like they won't go after these people that are like sending death threats. And it's like, Jesus, dude, are you serious?
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yep. So one of the guys that showed up on the property, point blank, told my dad, and this is gonna go to a point here. He told my dad, if you don't tell your story the way that we want you to, then we could just put a bullet in Yvonne and Chris Jr.'s head. Yvonne is my mother. And naturally, they never did it. I don't think they can do it. I think it's a lie to terrify us. Because right when he said that, swear to God, an orb appeared behind him, and it freaked him out. And my dad was like, turn around, look at it. Look at it. It's right there. And he was like terrified. And he was like, oh my God, you know? Yes. And he turned around and he was gone that day.
So the person giving that threat was physically
yes, an orb appeared. So he threatened my family, and then an orb appeared beside him, and he could feel it. And my dad was like, look at it. You know, it's there. Like, you know, you messed up. This is showing up to tell you don't ever threaten me again.
Wow.
That is so dope, dude. Like, okay, I respect that, because what they could have done is spontaneously combust that tree again. Now that would have terrified whoever it was.
Or spontaneously combusted that guy.
Or that guy, yeah.
Dude, that would be horrific, man. I mean, it'd be a lot of cleanup, and it'd smell really bad.
Well, he ain't snooping around on my property anymore, you know?
Yeah. Well, he used to come by all the time, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. Dude, talk about
it. Freaked him out, man. It freaked him out really bad.
That's a hell of a security system. Yeah. Jeez, man.
Dude.
I could make a couple guesses, man. You know, like that's just insane.
Let's do it all there.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. We'll wait.
Okay.
These orbs, man, we've said this. We've been saying this a couple episodes in now about our perspective keeps changing. It almost seems like depending on who we talk to, we learn something more. And your story is one of those, along with like Eric Mitchell, that has to do with these orbs. And I believe I've seen orbs at a distance, but not as close. I think Joe's seen something over his house. And then, you hear about this military thing where you were saying this, Joe, that it's a very physical craft. And, because it's these military people or in the Navy or surrounded by military operations, it's a very physical craft. But what the experiencers are seeing is more of like an orb. Does that mean to you that one has consciousness and one is maybe like a scout ship or something? Or could they just totally be totally different things?
I think that the real beings, and when I say the real beings, I mean not the disinformation ones, not the military craft, but like the genuine, we'll just say like other phenomenon, right? That's not human. I think it's all dimensional. I think it is like, consciousness. And that's another word for spirit, I think. I mean, I'm not necessarily semantic, but I think they're synonymous. That's what I'm trying to say is we get hung up on the emotional reaction of the word spirit when we could say consciousness, which is the same thing. The crafts are alive, just like another type of being. They can change. They can get really big, really small. And I'm not sure if you guys had heard this, but, my dad recently had said this, so I guess it's time I can start talking about it more. But the Vatican, the secret archives in the Vatican which our friend Diana Walsh-Pasolka had been into and read some of these original manuscripts. And she found that in the Bible, when they were using the word cloud, as in like clouds of glory, like God came in on a cloud of glory.
Right.
The original word that was pre-King James, the original word was ophanim, which is not a weather phenomenon like a cloud in the sky. It is if you Google the word ophanim, what it means is a celestial being that serves as a chariot for other celestial beings.
Oh, are you saying ophanim, like with an F?
Ophanim, like Ophanim. Ophanim. That's what in the secret Vatican archives, the original texts are claiming these, godlike beings were flying around on the sky in. When you really break it down, that's what it was saying.
Right.
God or whatever's up there is flying around in an ophanim, which is just like, as the Vatican would call it, a throne. You know? Now, I'm not preaching like Vatican belief. I'm just saying they have this knowledge that's never been given to us. They call it this, somebody might call it spirit, somebody might call it dimensional. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also from one language to another, it baffles me that, and I'm not trying to attack religion here. I'm just talking about just translation in general. You could take one word and you could say it in a different language, and you kind of get the point across, but it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't really get the whole idea across.
Or it's totally mistranslated.
Or it's just we did the best we could, and here it is. But the belief now with the religion is the word is the dang word, or the word is the word. That's kind of strange to me. I wonder why those books are in the Vatican archives, not allowed to be seen by anybody too. I wonder if that there's a reason.
That's the power grab, man. That's its own like institutional type system, man. That's that power grab. I mean, what are the big things? We've always talked about this. The military, your religion, and your money. That's what controls the world.
Yeah. And also big tech, big pharma, big agriculture.
Big pharma. Yeah.
All of the 1% power oligarchy, that's where it's from. And the Vatican, I'm not knocking Catholicism or people who practice Catholicism, but I mean, come on, man. Like the top of the Vatican, they're not just like pure people with these great intentions.
No,
nobody at
the
top of anything is, pretty much. I mean,
not at all, man. Not at all.
It should be obvious, but it's not.
Yeah. It's like that idea of why are the CEOs of the world, the people that are
they're praised.
That too. But their brains are sociopathic. Those make the best business-minded CEOs. That seems a little demonic to me, man. That doesn't seem right. It just feels like we're repeating this thing in the Bible where it says we're born with sin. Like, wait, I just got into the game. Why I'm already down one life, man? That's not fair.
Yeah, what did I do?
What did I do?
That's the thing from like the religious control aspect. Again, I love spirituality. I know there's a God. I even love Jesus. I think he's awesome. I don't necessarily believe you have to like do the whole ritualistic ceremonial, church thing. Mm-hmm. But point I'm getting at is that's what I believe is the religious control mechanism, is tricking everybody for 2,000 years to be terrified to go to hell. So don't ever question.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Don't ever question,
Like, growing up in a super religious family, like sometimes people in my family will be like, I mean, some of that stuff that you're into, isn't that kind of like cultish and like weird? And I'm like, well, isn't it weird to like drink the blood of somebody and eat their body
and eat his flesh,
we're all going to this one place to like, talk to this one dude in this big ass building, and it has all this symbology everywhere like that. Like, it's almost like it's just people are blinded by it. They don't realize that they're in the same practice, just in a different part of it as all the rest of the people. It's like mine is correct, right? But yours is weird and cultish. It's just so strange.
That's a funny conversation. The Jesus thing. It's like, I think it's all connected. I think the world control mechanisms and the UFO subject are connected in a way that people really need to figure out before it's too late.
Yeah.
And what did Jesus say? It was like, if you want to go to heaven, just be like me, dude. Like, you want to see the face of the Father, look at me. He didn't say worship me. That came later. And that's what I'm trying to say. The Vatican thing is just like tricked us all into this deification of all these people.
Yeah.
But in reality, what was Jesus saying? Be good to other people. Love your neighbor. What did the lady say to my dad? She said, I am love. She is love.
Yes.
It's all about love, dude. So I'm not knocking Jesus. I love Jesus. I think he's one of the most important people that ever lived.
Yeah.
But not in the way that we're told. It's because of what he taught, not because of who he is, in my opinion.
Right.
He's one of the only people back then who was saying that.
Yeah, definitely. And it also seems like, like the way that we're told about Jesus and like what he was teaching and this and that, it almost seems like this guy himself like just had this maybe some sort of encounter or like, maybe he had an experience of his own and he was actually teaching people like how to like, not so much like we're going into church and kneeling on our knees and praying, but like he was maybe teaching people how to connect with this thing that he encountered. He was teaching people how to meditate, how to open their mind, how to communicate how to be one, like how to exactly. That's what he was teaching people. He wasn't teaching people like, hey,
this is how to make them get rich in 2 days.
Hey, let's bring some bread and some fish. I'll walk on the water and this and that.
Yeah.
Let's have some wine. That's all fine and good and that's cool. And it shows like the examples of like miracles and things that can happen when these things show up. But at the same time, I feel like we're missing the point of what he was actually doing.
Yeah, he was teaching people how to love other people and be one with everything, with all life, all creation. Think about this. This is why I think that's important, that message. The lady told my father, there's love and there's fear. That's it. That's the only two things, like the two forces, right? And every bad thing comes from fear. Every good thing comes from love. When you fear somebody, what do? You avoid them. If you fear something, you avoid it. Almost like if you think in a very simple reality perspective, like you're as far back behind reality as possible, right? When you fear something, you're separating energy, right?
Ooh, yeah.
When you love something, you're uniting energy.
Yeah, you're bringing it all in.
It's that simple. It's that simple. When you love people, even when you love yourself, your energy is stronger.
Right.
It's more positive. It's more powerful. That's what real love is. It's not about like romantic love. It's about, just helping people around the world. If we all believed that, this world would be a utopia.
Yeah, it would be pretty awesome.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, but what's the apocalypse that the I'll say the institutions, to not throw anyone under the bridge. The apocalypse, Greek word, it means to reveal that which is hidden. It doesn't mean like end of the world, get your shotgun, there's zombies, and it's not what it means. It means the revelation.
Yes, dude.
Revealing the truth.
Woo!
Yes, revealing the truth that is hidden. The one we're going to get is going to be about threats. It's going to be about, protection, whatever, from this outside anomalous force. The real disclosure is the nature of reality and consciousness and, just being one with nature, balanced, loving yourself, loving your neighbor, and just being good to other people. That to me is the true disclosure. Mm-hmm. It's like we could change this place if we realized we had the power to make a difference by just being good to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the lady told my dad. That's that's the message. The message of the lady to Chris Bledsoe Sr. is love will save the world. So, that's very important to me.
I love that, dude. I love that, man. The Beatles had it right, man. Yeah. Dude, so I heard this cool little interesting theory. I wanted to get your take on it. There's a part where, like Jesus is a kid and then like he disappears and then he comes back years later. And I heard this really interesting theory that some people believe that he went and like actually met some monks like out in the Tibetan mountains. And then when he came back, is that what it is? Yes.
Saint Issa. Yes. There's records of him supposedly at a Tibetan monastery.
And he was learning what they were teaching. And then when he came back, that's what he brought back to like his community. And that's what he was trying to teach people, which is pretty awesome. And I've only heard like one or two people say that. And I don't know.
I've been saying it. Maybe not in public, but dude, he's a sage.
Yeah.
He mastered consciousness. This is my idea of Jesus and why he's so important. He's the one who reached the highest state of consciousness. And like the way I see it is he was probably murdered for waking too many people up.
Dude, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So then what did the Vatican and like the story that we got of him, what'd they do? They turned it into a Mithraic like deification, like Jesus is a god, worship him. It's Mithra. It's just like the cult of Mithra.
Right,
That's
right.
what the Roman elite believed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
They changed the story.
Yeah.
Dude, even like like Judas. I feel like that dude kind of gets a bad rap because then when you think about the whole story, like he's kind of the hero, right? I mean, had he not done
Caesar wasn't that good of a guy. Right?
No, Judas. I'm talking about like Jesus' homeboy that
yeah.
betrayed him 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, but he had to do that in order for this whole thing to set the ball in motion.
Right.
And he even knew about it. He was like, man, I don't want to be that guy. And then like he had to be that guy though, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that dude's kind of like the hero of the whole story because had he not done that, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
You know? But everybody treats him like, oh, that guy is such an asshole. He betrayed Jesus. But he was like, dude, that was his job.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, have you heard of like the Nag Hammadi texts, like the Gospel of Judas and stuff like that?
Not really. Not really. So
That's some cool stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna
basically in the 1950s in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, some kids stumbled on these. This is real history. They stumbled on some clay pots, and when they broke them open, there were scrolls in there that are like as old as the biblical scrolls, and they're like different stories about Jesus. He's talking about reincarnation. He's talking about this life being a nightmare realm. It's not the real reality, and there's a higher reality, and the only way to get out of it is to learn the truth. Stuff like that. It's called Gnostic. It's the Greek word which means it's the Greek word which means like the knowing, you know. But there are many other accounts of Jesus in the ancient time, and he basically was like this bad to the bone dude saying like you're in the Matrix, like you gotta wake up and get out of here. It's he talked about reincarnation and everything, which is funny, Joe, because if you look up real recorded history, you can Google this. This is a fact, like an indisputable fact. In the 540 or so era, 540, 550 AD, the Emperor Justinius banned the doctrine of reincarnation from Christianity. The Pope and all the little Christian ministers and whatever in the time were teaching reincarnation, and it got so widespread that the Emperor had to ban it.
What?
Like this is a capital punishment if you teach reincarnation from now ever.
So
that's real.
So they were teaching it, but it was not written down, or was it written down at some point? And
how do we know if it was written down? We weren't there 1,500 years ago.
Dude.
Yeah, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's this control. It's like, I honestly think reincarnation is real. I think that reality itself is a journey of the spirit. That's also what the lady told my dad. It's a journey of the soul. And it's about returning home, you know, to love. You reach higher states of consciousness.
Yeah.
It's being good. Just loving people. It's not about like get down, get on your face, pray, beg for forgiveness. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's just about being a good person.
Yeah, dude. I love that, man. Because they even banned like if you were a magician or like a mystic of some sort, you were no longer, the church banned also like you can't be a mystic and you can't practice this magic anymore. It's now referred to as act of God.
Yeah,
even though people had these like, abilities, you know,
like doing miracles and things like that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that, man? In the book where I think it was Moses. It was Moses. I just can't remember the exact book in the Bible, but he's like, has this staff and he turns it into a serpent as like to battle these Egyptian magicians. And then if you read the text, the magician does the same thing, but the Bible's like, but Moses won the fight.
I remember seeing that animated.
Always bugged me. Like I was like, but that guy did the same thing.
Yeah. See, the way I was raised, man, was like miracles only happen through God or Jesus, but I don't think that's how reality works. I think that Jesus is like a flag. Like you follow this flag and you'll understand how to hone pure, joyful consciousness. Like that's the person who set the example for a happy, positive life. It's not about like, save me. You know what I mean? It's about how can I save myself? I need to be this way. I need to be like him.
Yeah, so many people like they want to. This is like something that humans do, I guess, because we like to solve puzzles and we like to know things that are named a certain thing, and that's what it's named forever. And
Right.
it just feels like things have just been renamed, and we forget that maybe there's, before we were ever even a consciousness on this planet, this energy probably existed somewhere in the universe, and we came along and attracted this consciousness, and this positive love kind of felt this negative vibe in the universe and sought us out. And people have just been calling it something different every 1,000 years, whether it be like Hathor. We had talked, well, you posted on Twitter about Hathor. Twitter.
Hathor, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think it's not like, we can't just say the ladies Hathor, right? We just, is that something that you're comfortable with talking about? Like,
absolutely, man. I'll tell you exactly what I think about that. I think that this place that we're in, this realm, or you could say this planet, what even is this place? We're told it's like a ball spinning through this infinite void, and like that's all it is, and we have no meaning. I don't think that's true. I think this is more like a very important place where you come here, and it's like a crossing place between higher realms and lower realms of consciousness. I think it's like almost like a testing ground on the journey of the spirit, right? And I think this realm itself is here forever. I think it's been here far longer than we can ever fathom. The pyramids are probably way more ancient than 10 to 12,000 years. And I say probably because even though the mainstream history tells us they are, if you go look at, you can find this on YouTube. My dad looks at this all the time and he's shown me, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. There is real evidence of intense scorch marks on the top of the pyramids, which would indicate many tens of thousands of years ago, a massive solar flare devastated the planet so bad that it scorched and made molten the tip of the pyramid. This isn't something like a tourist can find. Like, this is like researchers going up there with equipment, and just look into it. So
yeah, it's illegal to go up there, right? You can't go to the tip.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And other landmarks in Egypt, the scorching is so bad on some of them. The only thing that could have done it would be a cataclysmic solar flare. I think that this is there's a clock cycle in place in this universe, and it's like evolution, right? But we're in this cycle. There's cycles before us. There's a cycle ahead of us. We're just in this one right now. I think those pyramids are there forever, and the stories scratched on the inside of them are like keys to understanding reality. They're like symbols with names, but those names are metaphorical. I don't think that a being is born in a higher realm. I don't think it's just like, oh, I'm born. What are you going to name me, God?
Yeah.
I think it's just energy, right? I think it's a power. But we make a mental association with that power based on our idea of it and what we name of it, or what we name it, right?
Yeah.
The Egyptians are the oldest. Hathor, if you look into Hathor, represents love. She has this gown in the ancient story that twinkles like the night stars, or the stars in the night sky. That's how she appeared to my dad. And the myth says that she has this like cosmic udder of the Milky Way galaxy. By the way, she appeared as a bull.
Yeah.
And that cosmic udder nourishes her child Horus. Well, who is Horus? Us. We're like human, but the head of the hawk represents, we have that divine nature. It's like human body, hawk head, we're man and divine. It's all metaphor, right?
Yeah.
So deciphering these symbols, I think, helps us to understand what reality itself is. I don't think these beings have true names. I think we associate the meaning with the energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
I thought I had like figured out the universe. I was like, it's Hathor. I knew it. And I think you were on SOR, and I was like typing in the live chat, and man, I was so stoked when you tweeted out like, I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not. But then that like pushed my thinking further, and I mean, I totally align with that. Yeah, people just like to name things, and
they like to name things.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
What is the ancient Chinese? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
But what is the ancient Chinese system say? The Tao or the Tao. What do they say when you name it? You just lost it.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
You don't name it. It's like when you name something, you limit something. But I do think the Egyptians were very smart, and even the people before them. And those symbols in there are, metaphorically explaining to us what the true nature of consciousness and God and reality is. I just, I don't think that beings in the higher realm are like born from mommy and daddy, and then they name them and they have this like baby shower. Like, I don't think it works like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just think they're like this infinite energy, and they appear to us. These forces appear to us in our little limited realm that we don't even know what it is. We think it's just this rock floating in the void of, the vacuum of space, because we're told it is by NASA. But, who knows what it really is? Could be a realm.
Yeah.
The Norse thousands of years ago.
I've got an idea. If anybody out there that's a developer, like there's like a staging site that you build when you're building a website. It's where you test bugs. Like, man, I'm just like trying to make an analogy where, you create, it's a duplicate dimension of the other real reality that the people see. But this little staging site is where you can go and fix bugs. And if you break the site, you just start over. Like, man, what if the Earth was something like that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's even interesting to think that, like, this is a realm, but we are also just this rock flying through this empty space. But, like, that's part of the realm experience. You know?
Yeah, I think it's both, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
I think reality is malleable. And it's like, that sounds so weird, but I think it is affected by our collective belief.
Yeah,
I think that we have this, it's as above, so below. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think that this realm is like a reflection of the true realm of, eternity, infinity, whatever. We're in the conditional realm. There's an unconditional realm. It's infinite. It's limitless. We're in that little limited realm that's like a fractal. It's just like this infinite spiral. Are you familiar with fractal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a fractal.
Oh, definitely.
That's like when you start going in on like subatomic particles and trying to figure out like science.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're never gonna. It's just gonna keep going smaller.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, forever. But it keeps going up.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I like that, the analogy of like the mirror. It's kind of like a mirror image. I mean, you see that in your day-to-day life, right? Like there's certain things that, like, I'll notice this. I'll come across somebody and be like, ooh, this dude just like rubs me the wrong way. I don't like the way he acts. I don't like this certain thing about him. But it's also something that I hate about myself. And like I do. And I'm like, wow, I'm just noticing like what my negative aspect is through this other person, or even something that I like. I will see that and be like, oh, I like that, or I enjoy this about this person, and it's something that you want, or you strive to be. It is this mirror image. Like you are literally saying that everything is connected. Like, we are all little pieces of each other.
Yes.
And by looking at other people and visualizing that, you can like improve yourself,
Let me turn it up just a little bit. Sorry.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
I need some more snare on my headphones.
Turn it up.
But I agree with you 100%, Joe. I think the unconscious mind. Now, everybody says subconscious mind, but when I met with the dude his name is Michael O'Connell, he died a long time ago. He did the first regression on my father. He told me, he said, actually, it's the unconscious mind. It's popularized as a subconscious mind, but it's really the unconscious mind, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters, but it's just what was told to me, and I like sharing that. But I think the unconscious mind is vastly more powerful than we are led on by these institutions. Like I said, the Rockefeller school system. And I think what you fear about other people is really, like you said, exactly like you said, an inward fear of your own true nature. And what you love about other people and other things is truly what you love about your higher self.
Right.
So if you're attracted to certain archetypes, dude, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Superman. I love Superman. When I was 2 months old, it was Halloween because I was born in August, and they put me in a Superman costume. when this UFO experience happened when I was 13, I was super depressed. My family's like falling apart. I came home from school every day and I watched Superman, the cartoon, always drawn to it. And I was just thinking about it last week, like, in a way, I was drawn to that archetype because it reflects my life, this weird experience from these things from above. And it's like, I feel sometimes like I can't relate to other people because of the trauma. It's like me being drawn to the archetype, but really it's a reflection of myself. And if you pay attention, you're going to start realizing that about yourselves. The things that you're drawn to in entertainment or in other people is really a reflection of you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love pizza and I love the Ninja Turtles. I'm also very sneaky while walking around the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, are Ninja Turtles sneaky?
Yeah, they're ninjas.
I mean, I feel like they can't be very, I don't know, man. With the shell,
They seem clunky.
Sticky feet,
but
there's no way.
They were trained by a rat. What's more sneaky than a rat?
His name is Splinter.
You dirty rat.
Dude, I love Ninja Turtles, man. When I was little, every night I had to sleep with a little Ninja Turtles toy. I love them.
Yes, dude.
I'm talking like in diapers,
Yeah.
It was a big deal. If I lost that toy, it was a big deal. Everyone had to find it.
Oh, yes,
gosh,
man.
dude, yeah.
Yeah,
man.
I agree with that. The archetype and stuff. We had
It's archetypes.
Samantha Mowat, how she was talking about like these certain like archetypes and stuff, like the Thundercats, and like how like just people are like drawn to that. Like, if you get into like the breakdown of like species and stuff like that, she was like, yeah, some people are just drawn to it because of who you are naturally or where you originally come from. Because I don't think we're all originally from here. Like, if we are just energy, dude, we've always existed somehow, some way. It can't be created nor destroyed. So that means it's always been here. I would just so happen to be this biological thing that popped up, and the energy is here now.
Popped up like a daisy, man.
Dude, you're a biological vessel for intelligent energy. That's what you are.
Like
if you just in simple terms.
Yeah.
Simple terms.
Yeah.
You are energy.
I love that quote that you're like, you've gotten to this spot and you are literally like the universe contemplating itself, experiencing itself. You're just the universe. You are that energy, whatever it is. You've just gotten the luxury to experience things. And the more stuff it creates, the more stuff it gets to experience on its own.
Yeah. Fractal, man.
Fractal,
Just keeps
dude.
going. Oh, dude.
Fractal APR.
Fractal APR, dude.
I think fractals are 0% APR right now.
I think they are, dude. You can come on down right now and get it. Okay, so we have to ask you, at the time all this stuff was going on, what kind of truck did your father drive?
Oh, dude, it was a Ford.
Yes, dude. What color was it?
It was red.
Yeah. How did we know?
Dude, when during listening to that episode, I was dying.
Yes. That makes me feel a lot better about it.
It was a red F-150.
Oh my God.
I'm almost positive. I will ask Dad, but I remember at that time he had a red F-150.
Dude, I love that so much, man. Yeah, it was.
I'll definitely need to double check on the color, but yeah.
Pure coincidence, man.
We were just being goofballs.
Pure coincidence. But for some reason, the image of a red Ford popped into our heads, and that's what it was for that episode.
Yeah.
That intuition, man.
Something.
Dude, so, I mean, talking about intuition, I mean, man, we already kind of talked about, like, we think it's real. You think one day there's going to be, like, a publicly sourced, like, kind of a table of contents or instructional thing, like almost like religion is, to learn how to use ESP and, like, I don't know, telepathy? Do you think it'll ever be that mainstream?
Yes, I do. And I think that because we are fast approaching the age of Aquarius and things are going to get weird. I don't care if people mock. I don't care if they believe. It's just a fact. Just think about clock cycles in the zodiac. We are actually astronomically approaching the age of Aquarius. Simple fact.
Is the dawning
Now-
of Aquarius.
Yes. Now, my personal belief, we get away from the realm of like proven fact and all that stuff. I think that what that will bring will be what you just said, like more heightened awareness of consciousness and things like that. And I just think that they don't want us to. Now, again, when I say they, I mean the institutions, these 1%ers. I don't think they want us to embrace this change. So they want everybody to be terrified and in fear and, be focused on like politics and all this stupid stuff going on around the world. When in reality, like, dude, astrologically, things are about to get weird.
Yeah, dude.
They can't stop it.
I always think about the fact that, like, we always say that time doesn't really exist. Time is just something that humans made up to kind of chart where they are in their life cycle. But then, I think on a tiny scale, time probably doesn't matter. But then we talk about this cosmic clock, like on the largest scale that you can get. There's got to be some sort of clock. And then people will always say, well, if we're talking about astrology, I mean, you're looking up and you see all this stuff and we measure things by what we see. But if you went to another planet somewhere across the universe, the sky wouldn't look the same. So that's got to be out of the bag. But then in my head, I'm saying, okay, well, yeah, maybe it's not like Libra, Aquarius, Scorpio, like all these different things. Maybe it's something different for them. Maybe it's a monkey and a seahorse and whatever else. They've got their own like massive cosmic clock ahead of them. It doesn't matter where you are in the universe. That cosmic clock does exist. Now, on the 100%. Small scale, like I said, maybe not. Totally. Like we can even supposedly by science, we can prove that, right? That clocks, you have a clock on Earth and you have a clock up in the airplane and they run at different times. So on a small scale, it probably doesn't matter. But cosmically, in the big picture, there's got to be a massive clock.
I think you're 100% correct. I really fully believe that. I would die on that hill. And I think that reality itself, and I mean every piece of reality, is a fractal paradox, as above, so below. If there is, the life cycle of a blade of grass, if there's a life cycle for a white blood cell in your body, remember, we're going bigger and smaller in systems here. There's a life cycle for cities, empires, the earth. Every year it dies and is reborn with the seasons.
Right.
Fractal paradox, just keep getting bigger and bigger. Eventually you get to the universe. It's got a clock, Yeah. Everything beneath it has a clock. It's a fractal thing. Maybe we're approaching, the final hour of that clock, but that final hour could be hundreds of years, you don't know, but
billions of years.
It could be. Yeah. It's just a new age. It's a new hour on the clock, know?
Dude.
So
brought to you by Rolex. We are the universe.
We are the universe. Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to have to pitch that. Hello, Mr. Rolex. We've got a pitch for you, sir.
Hello, gentleman Rolex. May I?
I don't want to be associated with you Neanderthals. Get out of my office now. You didn't even knock. Do you have an appointment? No, we Googled it.
We're like sitting in his chair and then we slowly but like you're sitting in the big chair and I'm in like a smaller chair and I like zzz. Hello, Mr. Man.
We have cats.
We have ideas.
I love that, man.
It's all fractal, man.
So the idea of dude, this is awesome. I love talking about this stuff so much. So we're kind of at like this conscious while you're awake. What are dreams?
I don't know, man. I really like thinking about that. I wish I knew more, but I tend to think that it's more, if you want to get weird, maybe it's like you're witnessing versions of yourself somewhere else in the multiverse. I'm not saying I 100% believe that. It's just a cool theory. If you want to try to be more scientific, maybe you're just like seeing symbolism from your unconscious, collective thing. I don't know, man. I think dreams are one of the biggest mysteries of all time. I don't think anybody truly understands dreams.
Yeah.
I think there's something special.
I love that answer, man. Like sometimes it's the best one. Like, I don't know, but they're cool.
Yeah. like the idea that like if you get into this certain state that you can astro travel, or like you can actually like become that conscious energy and go wherever you want to. Like when you're in that dream state, like that's maybe like you going places, but because you don't know how to do it, you always end up in weird situations.
I always end up in a waiting room at the dentist's office.
Like what?
That's purgatory.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously. Like Mitch Hedberg, and he talks about how like his dreams are work because he always ends up like having to build a go-kart with his ex-landlord or something. His like dreams are weird.
What?
Yeah, they are.
But
sometimes they're awesome.
Maybe that is tearing apart that that time aspect on the smaller realm, where like you're experiencing all time at the same time. That's why you have people that you knew 20 years ago in your dream, but you're doing something current in your dream that working on something that doesn't even exist yet, because you're experiencing all time as it's supposed to be experienced. You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's really cool. I'm sorry. I've got to process that.
I think time is real, but it's also not real. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
It's a paradox. Like in this conditional, lower reality that we're in, we have time. Because if there was no time, if we didn't die, why do we die? It's because we ran out of time, right? If we were unconditional, there would be no limitations on our being, so there would be no time. I think to be, achieve that highest state of consciousness and leave this place, you're unconditional. You're infinite. There is no time, but there's time here, so it's real and it's not real.
These things, these experiences that y'all have, and whoever it is that's visiting, do you think that I'm trying to think of how to word it, because it's kind of like a weird question, but we're talking about time and like how we have a certain amount of time. Do you think that they this is so hard. Do you think that like maybe like they're just do you think they already know that like we exist, like, and they show up just because we exist? Or do you think that like it's something maybe they stumbled across and they were like, oh, look at this is interesting? Like, do you think there's an interest, they have an interest, or do you think they just are because we're here?
I understand exactly what you're asking. That's a very good question. My 100% I believe this, and also I would die on this hill too. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. You know, we'll find out eventually when disclosure happens, the real disclosure. I believe that they are benevolent. I think that they come from that unconditional place, so to speak, and they appear to us as these shiny, luminescent, just miraculous beings, because that's how our human body can perceive energy that also has like a personality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a being. It's a conscious being. It's not an unintelligent energy, but it's not bound by flesh like we are in this little conditional whatever.
Right.
I think they come here for the specific reason to help us, to guide us. I don't think it's an accident. I don't believe that life was just spontaneously an accident. I think everything in this universe is intelligent. I think that evolution is real and there is a physical evolution, but they're keeping out the consciousness angle. And I think that's the missing link, and they just like to dangle it over our heads like we'll never figure it out. Right. I don't think that like, oh no, we can't figure out which hominid it was. I don't think that's the case. I think consciousness is the evolution, and the body and all physical life over time is mirroring the state of consciousness. I think our next stage in the evolution is going to be more like those unconditional beings that we perceive as light. It might not even be light. I mean, light is because we're, interpreting light waves with our eyes.
Right.
Oh, if you're a being without eyes, then do you even see light? Do you even see,
That's my favorite thing to think about. Like, there could be stuff, entities, energies all around us at all times, and we would never know it. Because we don't have the sense.
I'm sorry.
Because we don't have a certain sense to sense it. There could be like, an eighth sense or whatever we just can't experience it. So therefore, to us, it just doesn't exist, man. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, it exists. We just can't, interpret the data. I mean, the human body is basically a prism. It's like all this energy is refracting into it, and it's analyzing like sound waves, light waves, chemicals in the nose and mouth, pressure, temperature. It's all just energy. You're just like swimming through energy at all times. But also, energy is what powers your vessel. It's all energy, dude.
Yeah.
All of it. Now, some people might be confused because my dad painted these beings with eyes, right? I think they appeared to him that way. But when they took him to the lady, they changed, and they were just light. They were just pure light. And then back in 2019, he had this experience where he was at our new property is a pond, right? This isn't the original property, but it's where they live now. And this orb flew over the pond, and it slowly started, getting closer and closer. And then, can you see my hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, the orb started doing this, like just going up and down super fast, just like about 10 feet in range. And then it eventually got so fast that inside of it was the form of a being. And it spoke to him and communicated things to him. I think that these beings are truly a higher energy. They're just way more intelligent than we can fathom. They can appear to us however they want. And the government, or whoever these institutions are, I shouldn't say the government, I love the United States. But the institutions just want us to pay attention to these green men, coming from Mars, dude.
Yeah.
And these frisbees, there's no consciousness. It's space invaders, dude.
Yes.
It's Mars attacks, man.
That's a cool idea, because like when what do they say, like in string theory, it's just like these super high vibrations that is what creates everything around you. Like if this desk vibrated at a different frequency, it would actually be your computer, or it would be a sandwich, or it would be some dirt. Like it just depends on what it's vibrating at. So for that light to start to like vibrate super fast and then turn into a being, that's cool.
I mean,
dude, it's cymatics.
Yeah.
You know what cymatics are?
Yes.
It's like when you put a speaker on a table, put some salt on it. Yeah,
and it makes shapes.
Yes.
There's a code for every form and shape and what it's all frequency. It's all. That's why I'm posting so much about frequencies on my Twitter. Like I'm not random with the things I'm tweeting.
Right. I love, dude. Your Twitter's like favorite thing ever.
My Twitter would suck.
I'm so bad at it. I'm like, hey,
how's everybody
today?
What are you
doing? You guys have the gift of gab. You're fighting on the battlefield where you're called to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But I think that everything is energy, vibration, frequency. So
I've been thinking about this, man. So this is what we're talking about, but I keep always going. I love talking about like the pyramids and how they were built, right? So if we're talking about cymatics and being able to create matter from other matter and form it into by simply vibrating it into that code you're speaking of, could we put a big speaker of some sort and like a big table and put a bunch of sand on it, vibrate it at a specific frequency, and create a brick that's really solid and hard, and then now you have a brick that's big.
Maybe.
I mean,
dude, maybe, man. I never thought about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Gold star. You get a gold star.
Or take all of the elements that like create a human being and vibrate it and see if you can create a like.
Dude, that's how they made Mini-Me in Austin Powers, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
With their giant laser.
I don't know what I would do without you. He's like, I'd probably move on.
Yeah.
Get another mini-me, but there'd be a 15-minute period in there where I'd be inconsolable.
Yeah. Inconsolable.
That's funny, man.
But still, you need to like move that brick, right? There's all steps to that. But man, I've been thinking about this lately. Man, the cymatics there's got to be something to it.
Yeah. Well, I think thoughts are vibrations, man. And I think that in a real way, they affect our life, our physical health, the reality around you on an individual level and on a collective level, like what you were saying earlier, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I think thoughts have a real form, but we're just told, nah, dude, it's like little electrical, reactions through your synapses. It's all like neurological and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's true. I think your thoughts really do have a vibratory effect on your reality.
Yeah.
Do you think that this firing of the synapses in the brain is that conscious energy, though, flowing through you?
Now, earlier I said I believe that reality itself is a fractal paradox. So the functions of the human body, that's the below, and then you have the above. Functions and everything in physical reality are mirror images of what's really going on in the higher realm. I really believe that. So the body is like this limited little representation of what's going on in the higher realms.
Yeah.
For every spiritual function, you have these 7 systems in the body, just the chakras, things like that. That's what they are. For the chakras, you have endocrine systems in the body that reflect those behaviors or characteristics.
Right.
Whoa. That is super. I'm like digesting it. And
this is awesome. This is one of those I'm going to have to like mop my brain up off the floor afterwards. Yes. I love it.
So earlier when I said the thoughts are vibrations, right? Think about it. You and you, Joe and Ben and me, we have the power, and everybody else in the world has the power to say, you know what? I'm having a good day today, and I'm going to help somebody, and then do it, right? How hard is it to think about a being from a higher place saying, you know what? I'm just going to think about something and create it. I'm just going to think, and I'm going to be in this person's room.
Yes.
Who knows, man? Like if they come from an unconditional reality, how hard is it to use this metaphor of like a video game programmer, right? The video game is the conditional world from the perspective of a video game and us. The video game is the conditional world. We're the unconditional world. If I made the video game, can I program whatever I want into it?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
so if we're a little tiny little consciousness simulation of this unconditional world, can't they just like think about anything and it change or appear?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Couldn't they could think of a craft and it appear. They could think of metal and it appear at the gifting field for the United States military.
Right.
For like Tyler D and Diana Waspasocka and all these people. Right. There's thought forms.
Man.
Yeah.
That makes you wonder though, like in a video game, the conditional realm, like, so with us, we kind of, we look up and we're like, where are you at? Like almost like you almost have that interaction. The video game doesn't do that, or from what we can perceive, right? They're not
right.
Hey, put a subway in across the corner, and then like a subway happens, right? Like, so there's still like this little gap where it's almost like we as humans have this superpower that we're actually able to call or create this manifest you're calling this unconditional realm, that a video game can't quite do yet, but we're getting to the point to where, dude, computers are starting to like learn on their own and stuff, so
that's a good point, because the video game characters don't have free will.
Right
We do.
And they might also in the future, which then fractaling, if we're talking fractals, now,
dude, you're right.
You're blowing my mind.
This video game now, like on a quantum level, if it's like a quantum computer, it's learning all the time stuff that we don't even think about. It can now communicate and ask us for input, kind of like we're doing to whatever this is. We're calling out and asking for input for something we don't maybe know yet or understand.
Yeah.
Then we get the input and we're like, shit, I still don't know or understand. But we're learning.
Dude, you need to wear this shirt right now, man.
Dr. Scientists.
I don't like to show off.
Dude, so building off of that, man, so I play Skyrim. I love Skyrim. That's my favorite video game.
Yes. I love it.
Dude, so I figured out how to... I'm not a PC...
You guys are gay.
I'm not a PC gamer, but I did play on Xbox, but I figured out how to like jailbreak it to where I can like go into God mode. And like I played it for a couple weeks and I just loved just being able to get any weapon and have all the money and like I just did a speed run in like 2 days and beat the whole game. And you know what, man, I didn't play that game for like 6 months after that. And then after that,
it's boring, right?
It was still so boring. I didn't even want to play anymore. So
Yeah.
going back to this thing, like, man, if we let everybody have this godlike power to manifest anything they want at any time, no one would want to play this game and it'd be kind of pointless. Like everybody would. Have you seen that movie Melancholia? Like,
Yeah.
like the world's gonna end. Is it Kirsten Dunst is in it? It's a really trippy movie, but because everybody knows that this game is coming to an end, everybody's just like, some people are really happy and woo woo, but some people are really like depressed and stuff. Now take that vibe and multiply by 1,000,000 because we're like, what's the point now? Like, there's no struggle. There's no
challenge.
There's no challenge. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, man, like that makes so much sense that you would catch on to that because that's another encoding into reality. It's like the adversary. Remember the Egyptian symbols are metaphors about reality. What is one of the most important gods in ancient Egypt? When I say gods, remember, I'm not saying like worship these beings. I'm not saying that. I'm saying these symbols are metaphors about reality itself and what's really going on.
Right.
Set, the adversary.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
it's the challenger. It's the adversary. It's just a part of reality. I think the spirit comes here to overcome the trials that it faces in this life, to kind of like level up and make it to the next level.
Yes.
In another way, you could relate life itself to like the challenge of a video game. It's a simulation of consciousness.
Yeah. So you posted something on Twitter about it was Ra and then Amun Ra. Is that kind of the same thing? Could you explain?
Yeah. So Amun Ra is the most important Egyptian, I guess you could say, Neter, or I don't like to say the word God because I don't want people to get the idea that I'm saying worship these beings. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is these are explanations for reality. And what Amun Ra means, as I've understood it, researching for years and years, is everything is one. It's all, nature is God. God is nature. Well, me and you are a part of nature, right? And all life is in harmony. Like we said, it's this fractal system thing. We're just so like 9 to 5 day, go to work, go home, pay our bills, whatever. We don't realize that we are harmoniously living with all of nature and really all of reality, So Amun Ra is the concept that there's a hidden source. There's a hidden realm from which all the life in this conditional realm is animated. Just like the breath you breathe, When you breathe, Joe, I'm pointing at Joe, by the way, you can't see my hand. When Joe breathes, when Joe breathes, the carbon dioxide comes out of his lungs into the plant. That plant, so to speak, breathes your carbon dioxide, and then you turn around, or the plant turns around and then breathes it back at Ben. Like we're all linked through that invisible breath.
Yeah.
That's what God is. It's life is invisible, but it's there animating all of, reality and pretty much everything. That's what Amun Ra is. It's life. It's God. Consciousness.
It's crazy to think that like you're breathing air that like people millions of years were breathing. Like,
yeah,
like you're breathing like ancient air. Like the breath you just took is like the breath that Genghis Khan was breathing.
I thought it tasted a little salty.
Dude, there's nothing alive that can live without breathing. Now remember, it's that fractal thing. It's like, I'm not saying that God is literally breath. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this is a fractal reality. The human, or I shouldn't just say human, but the physical body of any creature, whatever, that has any form of consciousness requires breathing to live because it's like a metaphor of the higher reality, the invisible force that animates all life. I think that the physical world is a literal expression of the higher realms that are probably best understood in metaphors because it's too complicated for our brain. Like we just can't think about it. You can't see it in your mind. Like, what is it? I think it's fractal, man.
Yeah.
I want to make a connection.
It's unknowable.
Yeah.
Well, you are.
I want to make a connection
about it.
with like and I love thinking about it, but like more specifically with the eye. Like, why is that such a prominent archetype design from Egypt and then to, I mean, everybody knows this, like American dollar, like the all-seeing eye, and then there's like this Illuminati thing in there. I think a lot of that stuff is a distraction, right? Like, I feel like there's got to be a more beautiful way, like where it came from.
Like your third eye, dude.
Yeah, so
it's the all-seeing third eye.
But do you think the Egyptians meant it that way, or is it
probably
like what we're talking about?
I think that what it represents is it's that one eternal consciousness that sees all things, you know, like just think about it like, you know, a stream, right? There's a stream, but the stream, let's just say the stream is vertical. Let's just pretend, right? Streams don't really do that, but in a cosmic stream, it's going vertical. Okay. There's a source, the stream's running down. At the top of that stream, we're like somewhere here in the middle. We're trying to swim up that stream back to that eternal consciousness. But at the top, that consciousness is seeing everything below. That's what I think the eye represents. It's the one mind, the one true mind of all life, God. Like, that's what I think God is it's everything that's ever lived, everything that does live. We're all connected mentally, spiritually, even physically, by the breath we breathe and every other way we, you know, contribute to the planet. We're all connected in ways we don't know, but it's that one system. It's God.
Do you think, like, if we're talking about that stream, like, once you finally get to the top, do you think you just go back down and start over? Like, maybe like if we're talking about God and he had this placeholder and like he was able to see from the very top down, do you think like there's like this, he was like, you know what? I created this really badass thing. I'm going to take the dive. I'm going to have this placeholder, you know, in its place. So he drops down and boom, creation of everything. And everybody's working to that one top spot. And when we all reach that sense of consciousness at the top, we become one again as God as a whole.
Dude,
you know what you just described is called Hermeticism. This is what the Freemasons and every like major occult society believe, and you just use your imagination and you just describe exactly what is within the Kybalion.
What? Dude, Hermeticism? It's like where you're a dude and a chick at the same time, right?
Yeah.
No, that's hermaphroditism.
Close, I think.
Close,
but no, not the same thing. Not the same thing. Hermeticism. It's a really cool subject of study. Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest. You ever heard of that?
I don't think so, man.
Oh, dude, you got to get on this, man. It's what every society that's like secret, like the Freemasons, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, all these people are reading this. Alchemy in the Renaissance era all comes from this. And what you just described, the whole like consciousness having these extremely long cycles of going up and down for eternity, that's what they were describing in ancient Egypt, man.
It's crazy that I'm coming up with all these ideas that are already explained in books, which kind of like leads to the point that like we like consciousness is totally connected, because like nothing I've had is an original thought that I think like, oh, I just came up with something awesome, but it's already been like thought of, and I didn't even read the book or know about it or anything.
Like another example is like earlier I was saying that thing that you had just gotten off the phone talking to Gary Voorhees about. Like I had never, I mean, I'd been kind of workshopping that idea, but I haven't told anybody I was thinking about that. Like, dude, that's a perfect example of like, man, there are no coincidences sometimes. Wait.
100%. No, there are no coincidences. I mean, if it's all one system, then there's no coincidences. You know, it's just, we can't see how everything's connected. But I think when you pay attention to how everything is connected, your consciousness begins to raise at a rapid rate, and you start having synchronicities. And I think when you guys know what synchronicities are, right?
Oh yeah. Okay.
So when you start having synchronicities, I think you're becoming aware of how things are connected, and your consciousness is growing, or I shouldn't say growing, but it's evolving. It's becoming more powerful, so to speak. Everything's connected, man. Everything really is one. I know that's cheesy, whatever. It's true. Like, it just is. It's the hidden one. That's what the name Amun-Ra translates to, the hidden one.
I love that, dude. I love
so
that.
cool.
Yeah. We got to take the stigma away from that.
Yes,
just because a bunch
destroy
of
the
dirty
stigma.
hippies said it doesn't mean that it's like fake, right? If anything, those dudes knew what was going on.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Well,
we've seen
why do you
Soul.
think they did the Manson stuff, man? You think that was
Yeah.
just like spontaneous? No,
Oh.
that ended the hippie era.
Yeah, they were
that
trying
is
to
inside stuff,
They were
man.
trying to destroy it. They knew that those people were onto something.
Bro, I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
No one
Yeah.
wanted to be a hippie after that.
I mean, it used to be totally legal to like just take acid, and then like when you had these certain 3-letter agencies get involved, all of a sudden it became this huge deal because it was actually really important. Like they
Let me put
were.
it this way. See, I sit around at night thinking of these things because I've seen entities standing at the foot of my bed. That happened. I've told that story before. I've seen thousands of lights in the sky and up close and in my home, and it just has battered my thinking so much to where I'm at the point where I'm like, anything I've learned from an institution, I don't believe it anymore, because everything that I've experienced for more than half my life now, I've never found it in an institution. So I think they're lying. I think they're liars. And the UFO thing, I don't know, man. And the point I'm getting at is I think in order to discover higher truths, we need to throw away the cultural box, this language box, whatever emotional attachment we have to certain ideas, and we need to just like think for ourselves for once, and not rely on what authority tells us is true. We know certain things are true. Like I can measure light waves. Sure, that's true. But like, the monetary system, spend 5 minutes and you can figure out that's all a sham.
Yeah, try measuring that.
Yeah, have you seen Zeitgeist?
You definitely come up short.
Yes, I've seen the first part.
Like-
and not just the monetary system, but lots of things. If you spend 5 minutes researching it, you can discover that these institutions are putting out these sham versions of what we should have in a utopian society.
Right. Yeah.
It's like society itself is broken, and it's by design. They don't want you and me having access to these higher truths and intuition and abilities. And I think if all of us got together, like in think tanks, like people who were interested in the truth and just sat around and was like, what is reality? We could figure out more than we've ever been taught, because our intuition would lead us. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intuition.
I think that could be such a powerful thing. But there's a caveat. There's like, discernment, and not fully being like, you know what, this is exactly what's going on. You got to go at it from a perspective of like, hey man, this just feels right. I don't know if this is like completely what's going on, but this is like, just like this conversation tonight.
Yeah.
Everything, there's a reason why it makes sense and it's clicking. We're not saying like this is the absolute truth. We're just exploring. We're doing thought experiments.
Right.
Like,
You have to like not come at it like, oh, I know this.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. You have to almost like have an idea. I'd like to discuss this, and then just experience it.
True, 100%. But what are we taught, man? Like anything outside of the system is woo-woo, just totally ignore it. But what does Aristotle say? What does Aristotle say? It was either Aristotle or Socrates. The mark of an educated mind is one that can entertain an idea even without necessarily accepting it.
Right.
But everything is so stigmatized. Like, dude, 14 years ago, when my dad started talking about angels in the UFO world, we got blackballed. We got ridiculed because you can't talk about angels to the UFO people. You can't talk about UFOs to the religious angel people.
Yep.
So both worlds practically wanted to bring, pitchforks and torches.
Right.
They couldn't even entertain an idea. And now to this day, people are talking about orbs. My dad started that in the UFO thing. This lady, like TTSA wants to make a documentary about the lady.
Has she signed a contract yet?
yeah, did she sign a contract?
I don't know, man. I've never met her.
Is the lady on an option period? Is she on it?
You're gonna make her.
Dude, maybe she signed her life rights, man. I don't know.
Speaking of I mean, I can't not ask you this. I mean, so your dad has said in his last interview that she comes to see him comes to see your family every Easter. Easter's coming up. Are you guys preparing at all for?
Well, that's close to what he said. What he actually said was significant things happen every Easter.
Okay.
And it's not always some major, contact event. It has been that for him for several Easters. And that's only been in the last few years that things happen at Easter.
Yeah.
I will say we believe we might know what is our Easter blessing this year. We've met some people that are pretty incredible. It's not anything I can talk about, but
yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. But like,
I hope something happens.
Right.
Yeah. Like some orb stuff.
Yeah. You got to get your, I mean, I feel like if even to prepare and like have a bunch of cameras, like that's when nothing's going to happen. It's like that, that aspect of the phenomena. I think me and Joe have experienced too. Like, man, when we're just out there and not thinking and just, having a conversation, we're outside, we see some pretty strange stuff. Yeah. And then when we're like, okay, we got our cameras, we're ready.
Let's go look for something.
Let's do it. And then like it's cloudy and the moon's not even out. Like,
yeah. I can tell you this, man. Like having chats with people in the CIA, like Jim Semivan, John Alexander, and Dad spoke with Lou Elizondo. I personally haven't met him. They will tell you, if you ever get the chance to meet any of these people that were involved with this, when they were at Skinwalker Ranch, they had serious difficulty capturing any of this phenomenon. It messed with them. It would destroy their equipment and, just play these really bizarre pranks on them. This phenomenon is more powerful and more intelligent than we are. And I don't think it's interested in being proven. I think it's more so interested in like leading us to discover it inside.
Yeah.
You walk out there with a camera, you're not as likely to get it as when you walk out there and you really need to see something and then you do. It's a good faith phenomenon.
Right.
I think there lies the meaning of faith or belief. Like you can see something and you're like, yeah, that car's red. But that's just something that you saw. It doesn't mean you like believe it with your soul and you have like it has impacted you. Like you can see something and that's proof or whatever. Okay, Your Honor, this is obviously a red car that is speeding by, but it's not like it doesn't mean that you believe in that car so much that you would die on it. You could say, man, maybe there's some filter on it, and then you go, oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, there's a possibility it could be green. I don't know.
Or your sunglasses were tinted in a weird way or something.
So like in that same line of thinking, this entity, whatever it is, I think there's like this diagram and chaos magic. I saw something on TikTok where
that's some cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I'm interested in learning more. There's like this whole graph where one of the axis is the extent in which the individual believes that thing is going to happen. And then there's all these, I'm probably butchering this, but belief is one of the key elements in manifesting something or experiencing something, like actually believing it. So,
I mean, what is belief, man? It's the unconscious mind, right? We have limiting and negative beliefs about ourselves that we're not even aware of. Right. So we might say in our head, I'm confident, but then on an unconscious level, you're not. Right. I'm not saying you guys, but just in general, it's possible. I think true belief comes from the unity of the conscious and the unconscious mind. And when you reach that state, you can program yourself, affirmations, even hypnosis, but affirmations you can do yourself, just repeating stuff over and over. That's why I keep saying on Twitter, rewrite your subconscious beliefs, because when you do that and you train yourself like, I am wealthy, your unconscious mind and your conscious mind are both working in harmony together, your life is going to change to manifest that, because every part of your being on an unconscious and a conscious level will be working towards that goal. You're creating new patterns, habits in your life. That's what belief really is. It's like the unity between your conscious and your unconscious mind.
Dude. That is so awesome. We got to make that into a t-shirt.
Powerful. Belief is powerful.
Yeah.
You don't even have to necessarily believe in something that's true at the moment to give it power, because it might be true in the future.
Right.
Like I am fit. You train yourself to believe you are fit unconsciously and then consciously, those two parts of yourself united, you're going to be fit because all your habits are going to change. You know, the unconscious mind drives everything. Yeah. It's the wishing well. It's the wishing well, boys. You throw the wishes into the wishing well, then the wish comes true. I am fit. I am fit. I am fit. It's a metaphor.
Dude, yeah.
Throw your wish.
That.
I love that, man.
That goes along with like rituals too, like physically doing something. There's something about physically doing something that helps out in that process of. But
the whole purpose of that is a tool to hone your subconscious mind on what you're doing consciously. That's all it is. Yeah. If you demystify like magical ritual, it's just using these stupid little things to change the belief of your unconscious mind. That's all it is. Talk to anybody who practices this stuff. We are powerful beings. I believe, remember the fractal thing, the fractal reality paradox. I think the unconscious mind is like the mirror image of the higher self. When you start banking your true beliefs in your unconscious mind, I think it really starts manifesting from a higher place. It's not like, boom, a portal opens and like money drops in your door or, you know, on your doorstep. But
pizza.
Right. The change is subtle. You start having synchronicities in your life. Next thing you know, oh, wow, I got a raise or I got a better job or, you know, I've put in all this time and I can get a transfer somewhere. It's like a subtle change. It just happens over time. I mean, it's
dude,
belief.
We would be like terrible higher dimensional things. Like we would manifest pizzas and burritos all the time. Like
boom, pizza, beat,
like you're supposed to help people, and it's like, yeah, but
calzone. Now, boys, with that being said, why do you think the 1% would want to mess up our beliefs? Because if we understood the very nature of belief, we'd all be some powerful people. Really?
Yep. We wouldn't need healthcare. We wouldn't need energy. We wouldn't need gas. If we could manifest, you know, if you could go from one place to another.
We should start the mantra, the 1% will fail. The 1% will fail. The 1% will fail.
Yeah.
And just keep saying that.
No. It's got to be positive. We will defeat the 1% or something. I don't know.
We will defeat the 1%.
But
that makes sense because Vivian Chavette told us the same thing. She was like, you don't think of negative stuff.
No, if you got to think of positive.
Repeat the mantra of like, you know, I am well. You know, instead of I don't want to be sick, which is so negative. You say I am well. And
if everyone walked around saying I am happy, healthy, and wealthy hundreds of times a day, just like to themselves or just thinking it, dude, this would be a better place. We'd all be feeling like thankful for what we have in life. We would treat other people better. We'd have better habits. Dude, you're going to think this is crazy. I've lost 15 pounds in the last month because I've been walking around telling myself, I am healthy. I am healthy. I've been eating fruit every night for dinner. Swear to God, fruit smoothies.
Dude.
That's awesome.
Lost 15 pounds, man. Just speaking it and it's happening. It's just changed my habits. I believe
there's proof right there.
I totally believe that, dude, because I've went from like 230 pounds, and I was telling Ben today that I hit my high school weight of like 187, and I am lazy as shit. Granted, I work outside, so that has a lot to do with it, but at the same time, dude, like there for a while for like 2 or 3 years, and then when my wife got pregnant, I was like, dude, I'm fat as shit, dude. I'm so fat.
Got pregnant,
like, dude. I also got pregnant, and I was just like, dude, I'm so fat. Like, and I was so hard on myself. And then finally, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop that. I'm getting back to high school weight. Even if I touch it once, that's all I want. I just want to see if I can do it. And I've like had this positivity like in my head that I'm gonna do it. And every day I would see like,
and you did it.
A pound went off, and I would get super excited. And then like the next day, 2 pounds, and it's like, holy cow, dude! Yeah. I'm just gonna be positive.
It's a feedback loop.
Yeah, dude.
It's a feedback loop. The positive feeds the positive, and the momentum grows, and then you really begin to fully believe it on an unconscious level, and just the momentum builds. That's what belief, the power of belief, man.
Yeah,
they just want us to know that. Now, earlier you were saying like, if we had belief, then we wouldn't need gas and all this. There's got to be reality has laws and rules. I'm not trying to tell the listener. I want to make this clear. I'm not trying to say if we all believe we could fly, we could fly. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I would love to fly.
I'm saying that through your willpower and your belief, you can subtly change your life around you, but it's because of that what we were saying earlier about reality coming from consciousness. Like, I don't see it as we're observing it as it's happening. I see it's happening because of what, on a collective unconscious level, we're believing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you're not gonna like solve the world's issues and like become a superhuman, but you know, let's do small steps. Let's figure that out first.
If we all did the small steps, the world on a grand scheme would be a better place because we've all taken the small steps collectively.
Yes, if we all believed in what love truly means, again, I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about like just being kind to other people, empathy, compassion. If we all believe that, everything would change. Be a utopia.
I love that, man. I love that. Hey, I want to kind of take it into a little bit different path. This has been like, you know, like super positive and everything. And I'm not trying to kill that, but I want to know what your perspective is on certain people having negative experiences. I mean, I would be hard pressed to say that that's not happening because I feel like it is. And
it is.
Do you think it's something different than what you're experiencing, or your family's experiencing, or do you think it's the same thing, maybe just through their conscious mind is a really negative experience?
Well, see, that's I just wish I had all the answers about the negative beings. I know a lot about the positive because I've been interacting with them for 14 years, but what I understand about the negative phenomenon, or you know, some people would say demonic. You ever notice when people, like, you see all these YouTube videos of people being like demonically possessed, and like my mom has seen it at our church a long time ago. People really have that, like, demonic possession type phenomenon. That's a real thing.
I believe that for sure.
But you notice no one like sees a demon around them, right? You also notice that when people get, even my dad, when he was first ever abducted, he didn't have a conscious recall of it. Now, my brother had a conscious recall of the beings he saw,
right?
But my dad did not at first, until he got home and then he saw one in the yard. You talk to people who see like grays and mantis beings and whatever else, you notice it's a lot of times through unconscious recall, or there's like nobody else in the room that sees it as well. I think it's a consciousness phenomenon, and these negative beings exist, in my opinion, and I could be wrong here. I'm just speculating, right? But I think these negative beings exist only in like the mental plane of existence. You see these demonically possessed people, no one's just like seeing demons around them, you know, it's in their mind, but I think it's real. I think there are these lower astral type beings that can attach to your psyche, your conscious mind, whatever.
Yeah.
But the beings that my family is seeing, we've had people see them with us with their eyes, like groups of people, not necessarily like the anthropomorphic forms of these beings, but crafts and everything. Tons of people have seen them with us because I think they come from a higher place and they can manifest here. But those lower frequency, whatever negative entities, I don't know that they can manifest here.
Yeah.
So they mess with your head.
Oh,
they mess with your mind.
So people have seen the positive, more positive. They haven't seen like demons around you guys. You're saying that people have seen the light. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
You know how like Samantha was talking about like these higher, the higher dimensional, higher vibratory things, you know, like is kind of like what he's explaining.
Yeah.
But the lower vibratorial things are the things that attach themselves to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like what Samantha was saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what she was saying. And how
See, I've never listened to her. Maybe we're saying the same thing and we just have a different linguistic paradigm here, but
that's exactly what's happening, because it happened with us too. And she was like, no. What's happening is that you guys, like meaning us, are reaching people on our vibratory level, people who will understand, and that's going to reach them. What she's saying is like, she's like, if I said it, they'll think I'm crazy. So we're both saying the same thing. It's whatever vibration that you have, you're reaching that level of vibratory people around you. And eventually we're all raising consciousness. No matter how we put it, we're kind of all talking about the exact same thing. We just have different words for it because we're all kind of guessing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm. A lot of people don't like the way that I speak. I speak with conviction because to be perfectly honest with you, I was traumatized very bad by this as a child, and I feel like that gives me, purpose, like conviction to speak about this. A lot of people don't like that, and they think that I'm like trying to say that no other experiences are real. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we're being lied to about it.
Yeah.
This disclosure narrative, and oh my God, I wanted to puke every time somebody talks about threat narrative. How do you shoot a missile at consciousness, dude? Like, hey, lay your head over real quick. Like, show me your mind. Now I'm going to shoot that, right? Because it's scaring me. Like, it's dumb to me.
That's my biggest issue with everything that's being talked about right now about the fact that it's a threat. And even if it was a threat, what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't shoot it. Like, you can't. I mean, what are we going to do? Like, literally the only thing we could do is raise our consciousness to be what that is and then deal with it from there.
That's why they're here. That's why they're here, is to raise our mind and spirit that we can eventually be on that level.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Because we can't even deal with each other at the current moment. How are we supposed to deal with this other high thing that's coming in?
Yeah,
it's like we all need to get on the same page, and then we can move past hating each other to figuring out what this is. And then when we get to that level, we probably won't hate it anymore because we're not scared of it, and we are understanding what's happening.
Now, if anybody thinks any of this is crazy, just read Jacques Vallée's books. It's about consciousness. I've met people in and associated with the Invisible College, and these are the kinds of conversations that you have with these people. What you and I are talking, and we're like vibing and everything, this is what it's like to be in the room with somebody in high levels of like the Department of Defense, NASA, whatever.
Maybe they'll invite us, dude. Oh my God.
It's about dimensions. It's, it's out there stuff that, you say it publicly and then people say you're crazy or you have fringe beliefs or whatever. I mean, I have a friend's life, man. I was 15 years old. Hal Povenmire knocked on the door and flashed me a NASA thing and said, "Can I talk to your dad?" I was like, Mom?
Like, what do you do? I have to apologize at the beginning of the conversation. Like, dude, I just kind of wanted to get that part of the thing out of the way, because I know this, man, just from listening to you talk, like that must have been really hard. Just kind of growing up with that. Like, I hate to like pull the hammer on you right away, but I figured, hey, maybe get a little groundwork and then boom, it just, I feel like if people knew the full story, like, dude, at a young age, not only are there like things that even your parents can't explain, at a certain extent, but then there's like these people in suits coming up to your house and like,
and Hollywood, man, Discovery Channel documentary,
and that. So we talked a little bit about that,
and they smeared us,
dude. That is
terrible.
Yeah.
When I heard that story, I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Like,
and these were my teenage years, guys. Like,
dude,
so like in a very impressionable age, like,
you
either stick with your family or you like. I feel like you could have gone two ways. Like, you completely abandon it, or you stick with it and like, no, I love my family. I think you stuck with the no, I love my family. Which
I was like, in my teenage years, I was worried that I couldn't get like a mongoose bike with sweet ass pegs, and I got like this Walmart mountain bike. And then you're having to deal with like this as a teenager that like totally trumps, like it makes my issues as a teen like just tiny. Like it really puts it into perspective.
Dude, my dad bought me one of those mongoose bikes with the pegs when I was like 7 or 8, man. Yeah. It was like
sweet.
Dude, they're so sweet. And I could never figure out how to do tricks on it, man.
The spinny bar thing, you like hold the seat with your legs.
You and 98% of people who had mongoose bikes with pegs could not figure that out. Same thing with the whole skateboard fad. Like 98% of us didn't even master the ollie. We're not, you know.
That's because the mongooses were always too heavy. You had to go with the Walmart dyno. They were made out of aluminum, a lot lighter, bro.
Yeah,
they were the same price, bro.
And the Diamondbacks, dude.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks. But the mongooses, they did have the best graphics. Like there was like some badass snake on fire. Like
mine was like copper colored too, so it was like real.
Whoa,
real pretty.
That's what's up.
Hell
That's
yeah.
what's up, man. I love
but,
that.
But back to what you were saying. I can't remember which one of you was just saying it. Sorry, but I think it was you, Joe. You were saying like, "Oh man, I can't imagine growing up with that." And at 27 years old now, I'm coming to realize that it's not some separate, like hidden part of my life. But at the end of the day, when I'm, looking back, it was my life.
Right.
I've always described it as this hidden secret thing. Like, oh yeah, I've got a UFO double life, but it's not. It's not a double thing. Like this was my life. Was the NASA people, the CIA people, the stupid documentary where they messed that all up. That's all what I came here to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might sound weird, but I always categorized it as separate from me, the normal Ryan Bledsoe.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a double one. I have a double. It's not though. Like I'm just coming to terms with it.
I mean, that's a very wise position. I mean, at 27, man, I mean, that wasn't too long ago for me, but it feels like it was a lifetime ago. And literally, I still compartmentalized things. I still compartmentalize things. But after having this podcast, it's like, everybody that I talk to that knows I have a podcast, I mean, now they talk about aliens. And before we couldn't talk about that or else I'd be weird. But now that I'm talking about it on a regular basis, people want to come up to me and talk about the things I love to talk about, which is really cool. So there's no longer that separation. And I'm feeling like this little veil with not just, I wouldn't consider myself like an experiencer, but like, for everybody that is even interested in this subject, I feel like the stigma is going away, and it's going away fast. I think by this summer, I don't know, maybe it'll all come crashing to a halt, or we'll see. What do you think?
I think you guys need to hop on a plane and come see me and my dad, and we're gonna see some lights.
Let's do it.
Let's get on our mongooses right now, dude.
We're gonna bike up there. Will you give me a pump because I can't afford a bike? A mongoose bike.
I'll give you. We'll switch around. I'll get on the front handlebars, and then we got it.
Ryan, we would love to do that, dude. Seriously.
Dude, let's make it happen, man.
That would be, you know what I was thinking earlier when you were talking about the invisible college? I think we should get a group together and call ourselves the Obvious College and have these conversations. I feel another website
How about just like the college?
The college, yeah, dude. Like I feel another website coming up because me and Ben, we run this website. It's called To the Farts Academy of Farts and Science.
I saw that, dude.
And so, and hey, I'm just, nobody's been interested yet, but I'm extending an invite. We are looking for team members. We're trying to get a hold of, I would like to get a hold of Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 and have Mark Hoppus on our team.
Yes.
From Blink-182.
Dude,
and
the rest of the members of...
And the rest of the members of Blink-182 on our team, dude.
That would be so dope.
Dude, you've got to get Travis Barker, man.
Yes. Travis Barker and Mark Hoppus, dude.
Dude, I mean,
that's funny.
Like, the whole thing is, like, we haven't gotten, like, in trouble for it. I mean, people said, like, you're poking the bear, man. But, like, look, we're not, like, trying to make fun of anybody. It's just, it's, like, it's
we're making fun
funny.
of you, but it's because it's funny.
Yeah, it's parody. It's just parody.
Yeah, dude.
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
I really saw that on Facebook, and I think Dave Scott was commenting on it or something.
And Joel, yeah.
Yeah, Joel, man. I was texting Joel earlier.
Yeah.
But, man. Sorry to bring the vibe down again, but
oh no,
I've come to realize that I probably have PTSD from this stuff, man.
I mean, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, how if you didn't, you'd be like
Superman.
That'd be you would be super. Yeah, full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized that like a week ago. Like the and I bring this up because you talked about compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mind really wants to make things this way or that way and separate them. But that's what I'm compelled to do, is to tell people these experiences are not necessarily glorious. They're very traumatic. They're very real. And, this is what happened to me. And for those people out there who are too afraid to speak out, they can see what I'm saying and it helps them. I get hundreds of messages from people who just thank me for just telling the story because they went through something similar, but they're too terrified to talk about it.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, man. That's a dangerous thing, is this compartmentalization. And we're just, if that's a word, but we're just conditioned to separate anything woo-woo or weird out of our lives. Like, where did that come from? Probably movies. Like,
yeah, man.
It's like I grew up learning about the tooth fairy and stuff. Like, and now all of a sudden I'm an adult. I can't be like into the woo-woo anymore. True. When did that separation happen? And when did it not become like a serious thing anymore? Like, it's
Well, it's like, just imagine seeing these things, right? These lights in the sky, and they're really, I say it's not glorious, but the glorious part is how you're treated by, I should say the non-glorious part is how you're treated by people. These experiences in the moment are exciting, they're thrilling, but they're also very terrifying, because it's like, dude, I really am powerless,
Yeah.
And then you just like go about normal life. It's weird, like it's really weird. And then, me and dad get together, and like my fiance will be with me, and we'll see like 10 lights on a Saturday night, and it's crazy. And it's like, oh my God, we're seeing them again. And then back to work on Monday. It's this just up and down of like heightened states of consciousness. We're seeing these beings, and then boom, got to pay my taxes. It's just very traumatic. Like the swing up and down of the extraordinary and the mundane. I just don't think people realize like what it would do to them.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Going from that high and then back down to like, okay, I'm a human. I have to, like you're saying, I have to pay taxes and I got to feed my dog.
Right.
But
yeah.
Like, I mean, so we've been hanging out with Eric Mitchell because we're shooting this documentary, and like, man, every time we hang out for a weekend with Eric Mitchell, like I'm just so exhausted. Like the stuff we talk about and the stuff that we witness is mind blowing. And to put myself like, that's your life every day, all day. Woo! Like that has to do something to your psyche.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, dude. It does. Just imagine being a kid, man, and NASA showing up on your doorstep.
Dude,
what do you
and then you go to school on Monday. And it's like, gotta study my vocab words. And you tell the kids in class, and they make fun of you.
Yeah, and like, you can't even talk about it.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've realized that I can't compartmentalize it anymore, that it's all one life. And just because people are going to be stupid about it doesn't make it any less real for me, so.
Yeah, it's like, it's not even close to the same level, but occasionally like we'll have cool things happen or whatever, or like we'll talk to awesome people like you, and then on Monday like I'll go to work and I'll be like, we had this really interesting conversation and we talked about all this cool stuff, and like it's crickets, and it's like, or then you get like the side jokes, and it's like,
well, once you get past a certain point, that's when it happens.
Yeah, yeah, and then you get all like the ridicule and like all this stupid jokes that come along with it, and you're like, this is like, it bugs the crap out of me that I can't just like talk about it,
Yeah.
and without having all that extra baggage along with it, and the fact that like you're right, dude. Like the PTSD, I can't relate, but like I can totally understand, because I haven't even had like a super wild experience like you guys have had, and I just want to talk about other people's stories, and the crap that I get for talking about other people's stories is ridiculous. I can't imagine that being my story, and then going to work on Monday and be like, dude, can I tell you something? And then they're like, it's bullshit or whatever. Like,
man,
that's tough, man. That's tough.
The PTSD or the trauma doesn't come from the beings. Like I was never terrified or scared for my life when I had these experiences. The trauma comes from having these experiences and then telling people and receiving pure ridicule and the documentary smearing us and like having to mesh with normal life with these people who just can't get what you're saying and they call you, stupid, crazy, liars, whatever. Like everybody called my brother a liar and he was 17 years old. He was 17. He had no reason to lie about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it sucked, but that's what I'm here to do, is to help people share this, and it's helping people that the public doesn't realize. That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah. And that's perfect, because eventually everybody is going to realize. And that's one of those life moments. Occasionally you have this moment in life where you look at something completely different that you've always ridiculed and you're like, wow, I'm a total dumbass for completely thinking the opposite this entire time. I've had a few moments like that where I'm just like, it's like you broke out of your conditioned shell that you've been raised in your entire life. And then you have this beautiful moment where you're like, so like down on yourself and self-conscious about the way that you used to feel, but it's also like this beautiful moment because now you don't have that visual anymore. Like you're seeing clearly, it's your humility. You're vulnerable. You're showing your humility for what's in your life. And that's one of the like biggest growing moments that you could possibly have, is that humility.
Dude, you look like Jesus right now. I knew it.
Yes, man. Yes.
Man. We are kind of like at church right now. You know?
I used to tell my dad, he would always get mad at me because like I've always been a sandals guy. I'm actually wearing sandals right now.
I've been wearing chacos for years.
Yeah, dude. And
I love chacos.
My dad would always be like, "You're not wearing sandals to church," and I'd be like, "Well, Jesus wore sandals," and he was like, "Yeah, he also walked everywhere he went too." So I was like, I would always lose.
That's funny, man. I'm a sandals guy too. Dude, I was born in August, so every year for my birthday, growing up when we did birthday parties, I would always get flip flops, and I loved it, dude.
Hell yeah.
I just say, I like sandals. I was born in the summer, man.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I've had the same pair of chacos for like 6 years, dude.
Those are the ones that lasted like a really long time, right? They like formed your feet.
Yes.
Those are like the ultra sandal. I'm used to like the really cheap like $10 Target sandals, and then I walk like I can't walk and I can't figure it out, and then my toes are like and then my feet are just so I can't do sandals.
You catch one curb wrong, and the whole damn thing pops out, and you can't fix your sandal, and then you got to walk around SeaWorld for like 6 more hours with a broken ass sandal.
You know how much hot concrete is at SeaWorld, dude? There's more concrete than there is water at SeaWorld.
And then your family's mad because you're mad that you got a broken ass sandal trying to walk around SeaWorld. And they're like, you're being so inconsiderate right now. There's a lot of kids who love to be at SeaWorld. You're complaining.
You didn't even pet the tortoise that's walking around.
Dude, I love sandals.
Me too, man. And I remember seeing Shamu like 24 years ago, man. It's time to go back.
Oh, the OG, the real Shamu.
Yeah, man.
That new Shamu is an imposter, and honestly, I think they should just let that fool go. I always wondered, like,
I don't think he could go anywhere.
Well, so I always wondered this. I was like, they always put Shamu in that tiny ass tank. Like, why don't they just build like a big ass like glass tank like in the ocean and then just like let that fool swim around in the ocean? But it's like, like 5 miles long.
Yes. Yes. Dude, the Boring Company, Elon Musk, build a tube for Shamu. Everybody wants to see Shamu.
Yeah.
Build a tube.
You know what I was talking about today with Gary Voorhees, by the way? I was like, Gary, what if Elon Musk is like propped up to be this cool bad boy who's like anti-establishment, but he's one of the billionaires. What's he building? Neuralink. What if Elon Musk is the one who's going to deceive all the millennials into transhumanism, dude? You know what transhumanism is?
Yeah, I've thought about that, and the fact that he's like
It's got to be him.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to do that to myself, but I'm creating this thing where you could link your neural network up. You know, but he's like, I'm not going to do it.
Does he say he's not going to do it?
Yeah, he was like, I'm not going to do it.
Oh no.
He's like, AI's the devil, but I'm going to put it in your brain in the chip.
Yeah, he's like super worried about robots.
Super cool, man. Like, I'm telling you, he's the guy to push this transhumanism thing. I think so.
Didn't they predict that there would be a man in the future? His name would be Elon, and he would. Dang it, I forgot. It was like a really smart dude that said it. What? I can't remember who said it.
Dude, I believe you because you said it was a smart dude.
I mean, we are Dr. Scientists.
We are.
Dude, yeah, I mean, come on.
I mean, come on.
We
Look at
are,
it. Dude,
we invented that.
So I heard this theory.
Balskin Company and Co.
Balskin, look it up. I heard this theory on TikTok. I wish I knew the guy's name, but
Smart guy.
But he said when you watch Elon Musk answer questions, he kind of seems like someone from the future that's purposely taking a little while to really pay attention to the way he answers things, so that to not not disrupt the time space continuum from the present to the future. Like he's like actually from the future, but he's like everything he answers is so perfect, like almost every time. Like it's funny and he kind of like is vague about it, and it's all mystery. Like it's so purposeful. It's almost like he's trying not to say something that would ruin the future in some way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know about all the future stuff, but he is like that. He really is like that. Like, I can't remember what country it was, but they were having an energy crisis, and he was like, "I can solve the energy crisis." Does this ring a bell?
Australia. I think it was Australia.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And they were like, "How?" And he was like, "Batteries."
And then he like went and built a man, I'm gonna butcher this, but yeah, built a factory or some kind of like shipped a bunch of batteries and made a bunch of solar, and replaced everybody's power within like a month or something, like super fast.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
Yeah.
My future, did I tell you guys I'm making a podcast, which I definitely want y'all on?
I heard through the grapevine again that, yes, I was going to ask you about that. So tell us about it, man. What, do you have a name yet?
Yeah, Bledsoe said so. But
you can't hear him right now. He just said, he's talking about the podcast he's starting, dude. That's an awesome name.
Bledsoe said so?
Yes.
I heard that from coming into the room. We thought it was going to be Ryan Bledsoe Garage.
It's Dr. Scientist Ryan Bledsoe Garage.
Also, I said so.
This would be really, really hard to search for.
Like a really long ass day.
The reason I brought that up is because my future co-host, as long as he sticks with me, it's like my childhood best friend, and he is just loves Elon Musk, dude. Like, you want to talk Elon Musk, you talk to him. He knows everything about the guy, and I hear all my Elon stuff from him. But something about the battery thing, he was telling me all those crazy responses he gives that are like simple and to the point, but they're like so effective. You know what you're talking about. So. Yes,
dude. I mean, man, the guy has got me thinking. Elon has got me thinking in a lot of different ways. I think the snowpocalypse that happened in Texas, right? Everybody lost power for like up to 4 or 5 days. We were affected, man. It was like, dude, It was tough. Like rough. No electricity, couldn't like eat anything.
I had to hang out with my parents for a week.
Yeah, we all had to just like heat somehow make a fire in our home and like heat noodles. Like it was, unless you had like dried food. We were really lucky. We had a buddy that or some friends that live a couple streets down away. It was like half a mile that still had power. So we got lucky. Joe, on the other hand,
yeah, dude, we were out for like 5 days.
Yeah. So after that, man, I've been thinking about the electric system and our power grid and how backwards it is. We have this centralized system feeding electricity to our homes. Why is it like that? Why can't it be the other way around?
Why can't we all create electricity and feed it into this box that saves the excess energy that we created?
Or each home, it's like a tree or a forest system. They're all connected by mycelium. And they're communicating. Why can't we do that and all share this little interconnected web of power and all kind of share? If we're not using that much power than our neighbor is going to use a little
Well, it
bit.
makes you think, dude, because like fungus is one of the oldest living organisms on the planet, and it's way smarter than we are. It's way more efficient than we are, and we're just like this new species of dumb monkey that thinks they're so smart, dude. Right? I mean,
Fractal.
Yeah.
that's how Japan redesigned their entire subway system. Was they put food on the platforms for the subway systems in Japan. They put some fungus in the middle, and the fungus found the most efficient route to the food, which is the subway drop-off points. And they redesigned their entire subway system after the way that fungus grew on this blueprint, because that was the most efficient way to do it.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah,
That blew my mind.
yeah, yeah, dude.
Wow.
That's super cool.
It's pretty,
Jeez, man.
pretty.
That should be in the episode title, like The Fungus Among Us or something.
Yes, dude. I love that album, dude. Incubus is Fungus Among Us. That album's killer.
Dude, that was crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, fungus is pretty cool, man. I think it's also like the largest living organism in the world. Like, in there, that place in Washington or Oregon where it's like 10 miles or maybe even like 110 miles or something just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's massive.
I think they recently found a species of tree that just recently topped it. They discovered that it's a species of tree that goes with the roots, and but it used to be the fungus.
Yes.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. I love that stuff, dude. Like, cause I'm into like permaculture and landscaping and stuff. So like,
So is Gary. Y'all talk about this, don't you?
Yep,
Yeah.
we do. He's recently gotten into permaculture. I studied permaculture when I was younger, and like I became fascinated, dude, with like dirt and fungus. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yes,
it.
man.
It's so cool because you realize that your plants and everything that exists doesn't exist without this super nutrient highway and dirt.
Yeah.
Dude, I am really glad I came onto this show and we didn't just like talk about UFOs. Like, has this not been awesome?
This has
Dude,
been absolutely
seriously.
amazing, dude. Absolutely
awesome.
amazing. And that's what we like to do, man. And the coolest thing is we know your story without even going into your story, man. Like, we just get to know you as a person, and we get to hear you talk, and we understand like your ideas, the way you think, the way you are. And you don't always have to talk about aliens and UFOs and stuff to get to know somebody and understand their point of view. Like, I think we can all very clearly understand like where you stand on the topic, right? You know?
Yeah.
If people want to hear your dad's story, they can go listen to your dad's story somewhere, you know? I'd love to have your dad on the show too, because I'd love to do the same exact thing with your dad. I mean, we met him in California, your mom and your dad,
Right.
and they were absolutely awesome, man. Like, I love talking to him, and I wish we had enough time to sit down and be like, Chris, what's your favorite beer? You know, like, you like to barbecue. What kind of pit you got? You know, what color was that truck? You know, like, I just that's the type of stuff we love, man. Because like, yeah, some crazy stuff happened to you, but the most important part about this is you are a human being. Everybody that experiences this, man, they're human beings. We can't stop. We got to stop treating these people like there's something different, man.
Yeah.
Y'all are human beings, and that's what it needs to be.
We are one.
Yeah. Hey, while we're in this cool little vibe here, we'd like to show a recommendation, a reading recommendation for the week. This is a new thing that we're starting, and yeah, you got it. Hold on. Terry it didn't work. Terry Lovelace's Devil's Den, The Reckoning. It's pretty sweet. I started reading it here recently, and I really like it. It's cool. So you guys check it out. I told you, Ryan, we're doing new things on the show. We're innovators, and dude, it didn't even go all the way down.
I know.
It's just hanging there.
Yeah.
But hey, that's cool.
Dude, that was exciting. I'm not going to lie, man.
I told you we had a surprise.
So anybody watching the YouTube, y'all check it out. There it is.
Yeah. Ryan, dude, thank you so much for being on the show, bro. Great hanging out with you, man. Seriously.
We definitely want to come up and hang out with y'all. And same thing with you, man. Anytime you're in Texas or if you're out in the area, hit us up, man. We'll go get some barbecue.
Man.
We'll just
you guys are literally the only people I know in Texas. So if I'm coming to Texas, it's to see you.
But awesome. You know, me and Ben, you know, we've even thrown some ideas around on like doing like some live podcasting, some live shows, and like now that things are starting to open up and you know, people are allowed to get together again. You know, we wanna invite some of our friends to come and hang out on the live shows with us, and you know, do some cool stuff. And the invitation is officially sent your way, man. If you ever just need to get away or want to hang out and have some free time, come hang out with us, man, and we'll definitely have a good time, dude.
That sounds like a good time, man.
Hell yeah!
I've always wanted to see Texas.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty.
I'm a little biased because I'm
North
Texan.
Carolina's pretty awesome. So y'all definitely got to come out here, and we'll try to show you some lights.
Dude, yes,
that would be great, man. That would be great.
Hell yeah,
let's go. Yeah,
awesome, dude.
All right.
Well, hey, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on, and you also have an invitation to come on anytime you want, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Definitely gonna get you guys on my show. You guys are down, right?
Dude,
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It'll be a while. But you know.
We'll be there, man. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Open invitation anytime, dude. We will definitely come on your show anytime. And if you need, you know, as you're building your podcast, if you need any graphics, let me know. You know, I'll help a brother out.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
You do graphics?
I do. Yeah. Just let me know. We'll talk off air if you want, or yeah.
Yeah, we've helped.
Do you guys
a few people
want me
out.
to? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Go for it.
A little bit of audio delay. I don't know if y'all noticed.
Yeah.
But,
no, I didn't.
Do y'all want me to hang on the line or just kind of pop off?
Yeah, dude. If you want to hang on for a little bit,
All right.
I'll chat with you for a second. For sure.
Okay. Yeah.
You
have a
wanna-
little after party.
Hell yeah. You want to do the outro with us? We usually just make a bunch of noises like, and then say, this has been another episode of UFO Garage.
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Okay, let's go.
I'll try to keep up.
Okay. just make some random noises. It's okay. This has been another episode of UFO Garage. Later.
You did it.
Dude, I tried, but y'all made me laugh too hard.